We'd be surrounded with death every week. It's normal. It happens, and it'll happen me and you, and it'll happen everybody that's listening to us talking here. But we never talk about death. It's a taboo subject. It's bad luck to talk about it. It goes without saying, anything you don't discuss or talk about, you will become fearful of it. How are you doing, Are you the lads digging the grave?
Yeah.
All right, come over here and I'll show you where it is. It's down here. There's an old grave. We're looking for a headstone with a Cafferty on it here. It's down here. It's a brown headstone and the name is on the back of it. It's a brown headstone with a... It's about a third of the way down, they said. I think there'll always be a need for a funeral director. Do you know where you're going or who's doing what?
I'm on the 11 o'clock one.
You're on the 11th?
Yeah.
And
You have 12.
because you don't have a funeral every month, every year. I think that the rate is within the immediate circle once in 11 years. So people don't know what to do. Down this way. There's a nice decent spray. No, Martina, I'm going now, right? Will you ring the hospital and get clearance on Jim? And just find out when the autopsy is and when would he be released to us? Because
Okay.
they want to take him home.
Okay.
I'll always have a member of the family meeting me on the street and saying, David, is there something wrong with me? And I said, why? I haven't shed a tear. And all the rest of them are crying around the place. I'd say, no, that's normal. Why is that normal? Because I said, you're too busy. You're organising the readings, you're organising the music, you're not giving yourself time to grieve. But let me tell you something. You won't escape it. It'll hit you, maybe in 6 months' time, harder than it hit any of those people that's crying. It's the funeral director's role to go in and take that responsibility off him, and allow them get into that grieving process. Just there. Yeah, that's him. That's it.
That's the real him.
He was a lovely man.
He was a good character.
Oh, without a doubt.
Who are them two boxes on the left-hand side?
I don't know who the fellow on the very left is. He's a madman. Yeah, that's at our
That's
wedding.
22 years
22
ago.
years ago.
I used to read books that psychologists used to write, and they'd always mention the Irish wake all over the world. But there was kind of more of a skiff made of it than anything. It was like a big drinking party. Now I'm glad to see that the psychologists are writing, why do the Irish grieve better than anybody else in the world? The wake, the spending time with the deceased. You need to sit with that person that you'll never see again. You'll never kiss them, you'll never hug them, you'll never argue with them ever again. But you do get an opportunity to sit there and talk to them. It will allow you to cry. That's the body's defense to help you grieve. Now, seeing is believing. So if you're with them, you can talk to them. The spirit is still very close to you. So I feel that every bereaved person should be given the opportunity to do that. Now let's listen to me now. Face into the coffin. Put your two hands on the bottom of the coffin, not the handles. Now the important thing is face me, because this is the direction we're going. So facing me, together, up. Now put the arms around the shoulders there. Okay, lads, on your left foot now, together. Watch your fingers there. Now stand back and leave it to Steve at the back, okay? Good. Now you can go to your cars now. Okay. I get satisfaction out of helping people at the worst time of their lives. Yes, you wouldn't be normal if these things didn't affect you. But, you know, I just keep my hand that I can't undo this awful situation that has happened. All I can do is help that family get through this period, so it might help them down the road on the journey.
Mary, I'm very sorry for your loss. So 2:30 this morning. Has the doctor been? So what's going to happen now is we will come over to your house and we will collect your father. Okay, so you won't have to worry about it after that.
The questions I'd be asked in this room from a concerned family in relation to the quality, how long will it last in the ground? Where we would reopen a grave where people have to go down and they actually can stand on the solid oak coffins after 20 years. So that gives some comfort to the families, you know. So the coffins are generally inside are made up of the same material. It's usually white satin or cream satin. So to the average person looking at that coffin, you wouldn't think it was chipboard. And yes, there's £1,000 of a difference between that and the oak coffins. There's the chipboard there. You can see it there. And there's the thickness of the veneer. Like, I mean, it's only the thickness of your nail. We tend to put a panel in our solid oaks. And that's just to show people that behind that, it's real timber. So if the choice of disposition is cremation, I'd be advising them it'd be foolish to be putting a solid wood coffin on. You should help the family budget this funeral. The funeral account is made up into 3 sections. It's the coffin that you buy, which we refer to as the merchandise. So let's say the coffin is £1,500. Okay. Then there's the services that you provide. You provide a funeral home, you provide hearses. You carry out the embalming preparation.
Hello?
Hello, Father Jerry.
Yes, David.
You liaise with the clergy and you arrange the music, the church, the obituaries. 11 Mass on Saturday morning.
Yeah, that'll be okay.
And the third aspect to the bill is the disbursements. What that means is money that you pay out on behalf of the family. You may have to write a check for the soloist, the organist, the church offering, the sacristan, the grave diggers, the county council. You then may have to pay for the flowers. So your disbursements could end up £2,000. Adding all three together, the funeral could range from 5,500 and 6,500.
I've wore down. It makes you look bigger, is it? I've wore down.
I should give you this one. Oh, that Marie, you went. Yeah, these are members. Brother Marie.
90% of the graves opened in this cemetery would have been done by the Mehel. They're neighbours of the deceased and friends, and they've offered their services. You're getting through it. Do you get any stone, no?
Oh, we did.
We'd want 7-foot clearance there, down. And we want I was going to say 3 foot wide, because the 3 foot will allow for the palm on the sides and stuff, yeah.
Today is Monday, so Richard came up yesterday evening and just took a sod off the grave to open the grave on the Sunday, so that we weren't opening it on a Monday because it's bad luck.
If you open it on a Monday, it'll be opened again within a 12-month period. That's the ritual that surrounds that, you know.
Did you ever see a coffin not going down there?
I did. I seen one the other day. And what happened was the hole was big enough, but the palm was the thickness of your thumb. And what they did was it brought in the grave about 2 inches each side. So I had to jump in. I take it all off. Everybody was silent. They all knew I was friendly with them. And I said to them when I got up out of the hole, I said, "Jeez, he got me into the hole before him." Right, lads, I'll go. I'll see you.
Right, yeah, okay, David. Catch you.
Okay.
Catch you. Does that look all right from up there?
Yes, yes.
It looks that you're just being dropped into a lovely spot in the garden.
We grew up out about 4 mile out the road. In this region here, this Eastkey area. Now, in 1974, my father decided to invest in a pub here in this village. And at that time, it was known that a foot of a counter was as good as an acre of land. This was a busy pub. I remember going outside that door one day and I counted 29 bicycles outside the door. And I knew every bicycle, the owner of every bicycle. Now, in rural Ireland, funeral businesses, mostly they were attached to pubs and shops. At that time, there were no funeral homes. So when we bought this pub, or my father bought this pub, really it was a mixed bag of businesses he bought. And I do know when he went down and opened the doors of the shed down there after buying the place, and there was this black yoke inside the door. What do I do with this? So he rang the solicitor. He says, "There's a hearse here." "Yeah, well, if you look at that, it said funeral requisites attached with new hearse. So it's yours." "Yeah, but I don't know how to do funeral." "Well, you'll have to learn." So then I started to help out with the coffins and was gradually brought and introduced into the business. We had no office. We had a curtain here right behind me. So when a family came in, you'd notice there'd be 5 or 6 of them in, you'd know they'd have trouble on them. So we'd say, have you trouble? Yes, we have. So we'd pull the curtain. So it would be at this counter that we would have made a lot of their funeral arrangements. And the first thing you did was you stood them a drink. Here, I'll stand you a drink. What would you like? Powers? No, I'll have a little Hennessy. Okay. I'll have a pint of Longwood just as a chaser to wash it down. Okay, so he's getting 2 drinks instead of the 1. So this particular night, it was a Friday night, the sacristan of the church came through the front door there. And I'll never forget the expression on her face. She said, I was closing up the church tonight, and you know the coffin that's in the church? Yeah. She said, there's noise coming from it. I said, how is there noise coming from it? She said, there's noise, I'm telling you, and it sounds to me as if the coffin is cracking. And I said, how would it be cracking? Yeah, and she said, there's water coming from the coffin. I went upstairs, got my father down, and I could see the blood going out of his face. Coffin's cracking, coffin's leaking. You know, I don't know. So we decided we'd ring a few bigger funeral directors around, and the word that came back from them is that you need to get the body embalmed.
Rise again. Give our brother peaceful rest.
That was the late 70s. That's when we started noticing a change in the deceased. The decomposition process that we normally wouldn't see for 3 to 4 days was happening now 3 to 4 hours after death. From my experience, it would be from the introduction of modern medication. Now, we didn't know what embalming was at that time. We never heard the word before. And I just said to myself after that, if I'm going to continue doing this business, I'm going to need to know how to do that.
A short while ago, Cork's first funeral home was opened, the latest development in the changing pattern of funeral customs.
The first funeral home that was opened in Ireland was in 1968 by a man called Val O'Connor in Cork.
See this casket, but actually what we do when we bring people in here is to counsel them, because we find very often people want to spend much more money than they can afford on funerals.
He inspired me. After 3 days talking to that man below in Cork, I immediately realised that this man learned his trade outside of this country. So I wanted to do the same as him. The reason I went to Chicago was it was known as the best college in the world. And they had access to embalming all the unclaimed bodies in Cook County Morgue, which was at the time the busiest mortuary in the world also. Now, I'm now landed in a city of 7 million people after leaving a village of 300 people. So it was quite a shock. When I entered the school in Chicago, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of anatomy and physiology to be learned, but I got through it. I was a year in the college, and then I was a year out working in the industry as well. And I learned so much. I mean, at the time, there were 5 murders a week in Chicago. I'd pretty much seen everything there. An awful lot of drugs around. I went numerous times into high schools, and I took kids out of cubicles with needles stuck in their arms, and you'd be going, what the hell is going on here? Cook County Morgue was another experience, separate experience, because I never heard of unclaimed bodies. Now, bear in mind, I come from a culture that couldn't wait to get your body home. Now I see them stored up in a warehouse and nobody wants to claim them. And then I think about home and all the customs, rituals and traditions that surround this. This is where I want to be. It was great to see it. an experience living there, an experience earning money, an experience how much money you could make. So you can understand why the Irish community in Chicago was shocked when I announced I was coming back to the west of Ireland.
Okay.
Now, it's the last supper casket upstairs.
Okay.
And they're bringing in clothes in the morning.
Okay.
In this business, you're going all the time. How do you switch off? There's no time to switch off. It could be 12 o'clock, it could be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You could be at home when you're just called out again. You might be only 2 hours in the bed. Yes, when you have family, it's hard to arrange that around your family life and the time you should be spending with your family. But, you know, they grow up to accept that too. So when they do get you, you make good time of it. But you would be on call, you'd have your phone with you, and you'd know, and they'd know, that if they see me disappearing, that it's somebody has lost a loved one, you know. So
Those times are okay. I get that written in for 11 o'clock.
right, Father Jerry. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Most humans love to look well. Most people will spend a couple of hours doing themselves up before they go out. That's normal. When somebody charges me with the responsibility of looking after the deceased loved one, I feel from the deceased point of view that I want to give them back the 2 or 3 hours that they would normally have given themselves during life. That's not a big ask. I love wearing the clogs because they keep your feet dry. Some people don't like them, some people like runners. Right. If you Google embalming, really the definition you'll get is mummification. If you look back at the way the Egyptians did it, they took out all the body organs. We don't do anything like that. The first sign of decomposition in somebody is a green area over the abdomen of the body. During life, we have bacteria within us. And what they do is to break down the food that we digest to keep us alive. When cessation of life occurs, that same bacteria, some of them, turn on the body. So I'm going to get rid of all this discoloration and stop it from going black. The chemical we use hardens the protein in the cell, which slows down the decomposition process. There's a certain amount of formaldehyde in it, isopropanol, and it takes about 15 minutes to inject this in. Normally you will make the incision alongside the clavicle bone, which is the collarbone, and you would lift the carotid artery and the jugular vein. That's the carotid artery. Now, when that needle is inserted into the vascular system, it'll bring that chemical or fluid around everywhere blood did during life. People often ask me, do we take blood? I'd say, yes, we do. But it's decomposed blood that you're taking. It's blood that's going to discolor the body. So that's the injection over. He's not looking as skeleton looking as he was. We got his ear nice up and red. We got a little bit of fillness here. I feel a big spiritual presence when I'm in the room. See, I didn't have anybody very close to me die, so I had to get this spiritual from somewhere. Someone is shooting this into my veins. I've seen things happen at funerals that you just couldn't say were coincidence. Hearses stopping at the favourite point of where a guy fished all his life. It just conked out. Brand new hearse. No mechanic can figure it out. But it happened. I had a lady one time that I was putting cosmetics on, and it just wasn't sticking. It had the funniest reaction on the face that ever I seen. It was like water, applying water. You know how it would come run down like a bubble? I actually thought the bottle was gone off, so I went out and I got another bottle. It was going nowhere. I couldn't apply it. They were ringing. You should be here an hour ago. So I made a decision to take their mother home. We went to the house and I took the lid off the coffin. Then I went out to hopefully explain to them why I didn't apply makeup to their mum. The next thing, the three daughters came through the door and threw their arms around me. How did I know not to put makeup on their mum? Oh, I didn't know. Because we forgot to tell you. She hated makeup. She didn't even want lipstick. I have a passion for the funeral business. That's all I know, really. But you need something in your free time that can get your mind away from all the sad stuff that you see happening around you 24/7. You know, I tried a few things, getting involved in golf and stuff like that, and I found it hard to find some sort of hobby. So I decided to come up with turning all types of transportation into accommodation. And that didn't exclude a plane.
Attempts will be made this evening to deliver a Boeing 767 aircraft to a glamping site in County Sligo. The airliner will be the centrepiece at an alternative transport-themed glamping village in Enniscrone. The retired aircraft left Shannon on a barge on Thursday to travel up the west.
The logistics of the move was quite challenging. And it took a lot of good people around me to make it happen. And we got an awful lot of attention.
And the town is absolutely rammed. And the reason it's rammed and the reason we're here is because of a thing that sort of caught not just the mood of people in Enniscrone, but the mood of people around the country.
You know, I'm not known now as the Grim Reaper. I'm not known as the worst person that can come to your house. You know, oh, you're the man that brought in the plane. Now it's on my site, and now I have to make a business out of it. I've come down here today to have a look at the possibility of, believe it or not, planting a tree with human ashes in it. I got a phone call the other day from a guy. He's an American, and his name is Dougie, and he wants me to make his funeral arrangements. And he even told me he bought his own urn. Oh, well, he said, I want to grow a tree. I'm going to be a tree someday. So I said, right, but where are you going to put it? Oh, he says, in the cemetery. I said, what sort of a tree is it? He says, an oak tree. Jesus, I said, there's a lot of roots in them things. I said, you can't do that. You'll be going into other people's graves. And he nearly fell out of the bed with the laughing. So I said, would you have any objection to the oak tree grown at the end of the plane? And he just was chuffed about that.
There's no reason that this should be coming together like this, and it is. Now, I've been flying 35 years. I'm a pilot, and I'm a line training captain, and I'm an examiner.
He flies the likes of Paris Hilton a lot, and people like that. A lot of tours, Iron Maiden tours, Kylie Minogue, Halle Berry. There's been just so many of them.
About 3 years ago, I started getting headaches. After so many months and so many years, the first scan, they said, "You're 3 tumors in your head." Then they did another scan, and they found 2 tumors in my right lung. We can't operate on it. Too late. Missed the diagnosis by 3 years.
And they gave him 6 months to live.
And when was this?
November. It was 3 months ago. The natural person we would go to first of all was David. Doug's daughter died of meningitis some years ago. David was the undertaker. David took care of everything for him.
He takes a disaster, like a baby dying, a 4.5-month-old baby girl. When he was done, I was like, thank you.
And that helped your grief?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't have done it. Go ahead and shoot me.
Oh, God. The big one today is Dougie now. That'll be tough now. I suppose we've kind of created a sort of a bond, you know? Not so bad. Is Dougie up, is he? I heard he got a steak.
I got a
Who's
steak.
the steak for?
I got a steak.
How the hell are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I feel like more than 5 days, less than 2 weeks. That's how I feel. It's a number.
You mean like as in...
Finished.
I don't know what you're going through. It's wrong. I'm not going to even claim that. I believe you're passing. I hate using the word died. I think it's a passing because you pass on to another place.
Yeah.
I'd be very, very confident.
Yeah.
I hate taking out this, right? Because this is what I took out the first day with you, right?
Yeah.
And there are a few things I just want to confirm.
Okay.
I checked out in case there was any problems with the ashes being interred on my site.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Now, we'd be putting the notice on the radios and stuff like that as well.
Midwest, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Midwest. You're happy with all the rest, like laying you out in your uniform, laying you out here in this room here. And we go to church on the morning.
Okay.
But you're not going to be in church overnight.
No.
Okay?
Good.
You're going to be here in the house.
Good. See, yeah. So then the ashes just go in there.
The ash go in here, and that's planted in the ground.
The top comes out here.
That's right.
Yeah. When I first got diagnosed in the hospital, some father came in and he goes, "Body of Christ, whatever, get out of here. Get out of here. Get." I was angry. There's nobody gonna help you. You're dead. You're just another piece of dirt. My plans have changed. I want to be a tree. My kids can say, he's a tree.
People's attitude towards death is changing, definitely. Cremation is on the rise. I think it's around 18% now. And a lot of people are curious into what is the procedure, and most of the public don't know. When the body is received, people always ask, has the coffin been moved? You don't put in the coffin. Well, let me tell you, you do. There's no people will handle dead bodies because they don't know if they have infections, they don't know if they're embalmed, they know nothing about them. Could you get 5 or 6 people's ashes? That's a normal question, as. No, only one coffin can fit in the retort. How long does it take? About 90 minutes. Your body is over 90% water, right? So actually the body melts itself. The heat is up to 850 degrees. But all the soft parts of the body, all the coffin, it would just destroy. So on the deck of the crematorium, there's nothing but a plain skeleton. And they'd brush all the brickle bone up to one end. Then they place a magnet over the brickle bone and it would pick up any metal or any rings or any screws from the coffin, and then you would take them away. Then you take the brickle bone and it's put in the common cremulator where it crushes the bone into a dust. Everybody thinks your ashes is your hair or your clothes or... No, it's bone dust. In my case, somebody asked me recently, do I want to be cremated or buried? I don't care either way. Because one thing people need to understand is, whether it's cremation or burial, you'll return to a skeleton anyway.
I don't find any negative in anything now, so it was a bit late, but I did it in everything. Let me tell you, I was the first to complain about this one or that one, instead of going, now Martin, let's go on. So, I've learned, a bit late, but I learned. I think we all need to appreciate, really need to appreciate the moment, this moment, not tomorrow, this moment. I don't do it, you don't do it. We're looking for something else.
We've done the bucket list. We've it done. The very last thing was go to the ocean. Nothing big. We met you that day.
Oh my God, beautiful. Take some pictures. This is all at our doorstep. Why would you want to leave? Yeah, I need to be somewhere near this bad boy. Hey, big guy!
I told you to come out with the hands. Look at that.
Come here, give me a hug. Oh, God,
Hey, buddy.
Now, welcome to the fucking madness.
How are you, buddy? How are you getting there?
I mean, look at here.
Just trying
You
to...
have to see this here, like, you'd have to look at that and say, there's something awful wrong about this.
That's it. What are you doing, David? But it all going to work here, no?
Well, do you know what? It is going to work.
It is.
I'm looking at a machine there that spent 29 years in the sky. And now she's sitting in my back garden. Like, it's a bit mad when you think about it.
Isn't it? Dude, why is this all fitting together to my career, my life, yours? So you don't actually die. You stay, you're going out to these people with your soul and say, it just feels so good.
Well, like, if it's any consolation to you, when my time comes,
you're gonna...
I'm going to be pretty much beside you down there in the boat.
I'll be talking about, he's coming tonight. He's coming tonight. We'll sabotage him when he gets here.
So what I intend to do with you,
okay,
right, is I'm going to be explaining who you are and your trip here, and I'm going to be telling them there's a Dougie tree down there.
Okay. David, this has given me so much hope for the future, whatever the future is. But I'm not giving up on nothing now, nothing.
Yeah, well, I told you, of the 30 years that I've spent in the funeral business, there's two things that I've learned. Number one, there's no point being the richest person in the graveyard.
Right.
And number two, the spiritual world is much greater than the one down here.
Aye.
And you remember that.
I know, buddy. I got no complaints. I'm happy.
We're ready for it, aren't we?
Aye. Yeah.
Look, I say to you, it's just it'll be a privilege to have you here on the site.
I'm going to have to find a way of making you know what's going on the other side. Subtle as they can be, but I'm going to get word back to you. And it's going to be good. We don't do bad news.
I know that, Joe.
Don't do it.
The death has occurred of Douglas, better known as Dougie Hopkins, Ruski Claremorris, and late of the United States of America, reposing at his residence on Friday evening from 6 o'clock until 9. Funeral will arrive to Church of Christ the King.
Yeah, Dougie has failed a good bit, so I'm going to have to try and build him up a bit. It's a bit different when you're doing this on somebody you know, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't think of our, the friendship we made from the initial time he contacted me. That emotional side hasn't hit me. I'm just interested in getting him ready for that big dance in the sky. Any of the photographs I seen Dougie in like that, he was dapper and smart. He had no beard, like, so I'm trying to give him back that dapper look again. This is cap. Okay. Right down to his shoes. That's him. Anybody that comes and attends the funeral will see that he looked fabulous, and they'll remember from that. We had lots of chats, the two of us, inside those four walls there, so he liked the idea of coming home. Do you want to come in and see Dougie there now and see?
His hair, though.
Yeah, we might have to touch up his ear. It's very short.
He would always have it standing up a bit.
So we might put a bit of gel in it or something.
That looks perfect.
I'm sure he has a bit here somewhere. The comfort is that this is what he wanted. Yeah, you know, and that was the important thing about coming up here and talking to him.
Oh my God, doesn't he look so handsome?
Yeah, with the uniforms.
Oh, isn't it lovely?
So, yeah, that's the importance of it, and so. He's at home now.
Is this still going? Yes. Okay. In 2001, I had a baby die of meningitis, inbound meningitis, and David McGowan did the funeral arrangements for it. The casket, a white coffin, beautiful. Couldn't pick a better one myself. And whatever, we just drove home. I was there. Streets were lined up with people. All the way uptown. I just sat there and went, all these people, I have no pain. I have none. No wake and the people sitting at night and candles and like, God, it's so precious. So precious.
The Americans asked me in a presentation I was doing in New Jersey one time. I was showing a photograph of my hearse en route to church with 300 people around it. And they were confused. Why are all the people around the hearse? I said, they're going to the church. But why? I said, that person isn't going to church on their own. Now, lads, facing me, together, up. Now, put your arms around each other's shoulders. Just come up there a wee bit more. Now, we okay? On your left foot now, together,